You can't make a man love you. You can't sleep with him into loving you. You can't cook for him into loving you. You can't speak on the phone with him enough to make him love you. If a man says he doesn't want you, believe him the first time. I had my first boyfriend when I was 13 years old. Now, it wasn't a real relationship. Feelings were real. The emotions were real. And the heartbreak was real when we eventually broke up. There's so many things that I've experienced just over the years as I've dated and gotten into relationships that I just wish somebody would have told me. And the first thing is, don't rush. I see a lot of videos, and I've had conversations with some of my friends who are in their 20s or early 30s and haven't had too many relationships, or some of them haven't even had any relationship. And as much as I understand why they feel bad, I tell them that you aren't missing anything, because the more relationships you get into, the more breakups that you deal with, the more baggage that you have. So you don't need experience. It's not a job. You're not applying for a job, right? The more that you can enter into relationships with a clean slate, the better for you. What happened to me was starting to entertain male attention from a young age and have to maintain male attention from a young age made me to start to see myself through his eyes. And for a very long time, if I wasn't attractive to a man, if I wasn't engaging the interest of a man that I liked, I saw it as a personal failure on my part. So it had a lot of negative effects on my self-esteem, because the truth is that you have to love yourself first. You cannot delegate your self-esteem and how good you feel about yourself to another human being. My sense of worth was dependent on how the person I was dating at the time felt about me, and it was a very dangerous place to be. You need to take your time, okay? You're not missing out on anything. The fact that you're 24, 25, and you haven't had a ton of boyfriends, it's actually a good thing, because it means that when you do attract the person that you want to be with, when you do meet somebody, you're going into that relationship clean, free of emotional baggage. Nobody has rejected you yet, so you're not afraid of abandonment. Honestly, it's a good thing. And you only need one, to be honest. If you're somebody who wants to get married, if you're somebody who believes in getting married, you just need to marry one person. And if that's the only person that you meet and that's the only person that you date, it will make your life so much easier. There's nothing wrong with you. I feel like as women, when we enter into relationships and when the relationships don't end up the way we want, we start to think something is wrong with me. I must have done something wrong. I must not be deserving of love. You know, we personalize it and we make it a personal failing. We make it something that has to do with us. And the truth is that it's not personal. Honestly, you could be with somebody who loves you more than life itself and has the best intentions for you, and those relationships and that relationship will end. You can do everything right and that relationship will still end. It has nothing to do with you and who you are. And if it's because you're single, trust me, there's nothing wrong with you. Whatever you think is keeping you away from love, there are people who have that situation and worse, who are in love and being treated right. If you ended up with somebody who abused you, there's nothing wrong with you. If you ended up with somebody who was mean to you, who was, unkind to you, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not single because you're ugly. You're not single because you can't be loved. You're not single because you're damaged. All right. You don't have to heal yourself 100% to find love. There are a lot of jacked up people, and I'm not justifying being jacked up. Get therapy, heal, but you're not going to be perfect. Okay. You do not have to be 100% whole. And I don't think there's anybody in this world who is, but if you know somebody who has no issues, no trauma, no triggers, nothing, let me know who they are. Everybody has their issues, and love is about accepting the person that you want, flaws and all right? Yes, work on yourself, build yourself, develop yourself, but understand that there's nothing wrong with who you are. You can't make a man love you. Now, I know on the surface of this, when you say this to women, they say, oh, I know. But the truth is that the way a lot of us act shows that we don't really believe that, and when a man doesn't want you, he doesn't want, there's nothing you can do, and the thing is, the reason why women think, oh, if I try hard enough, if I take care of him, if I'm always there for him, if he talks to me on the phone for 3 hours, if I support his dreams, if I do everything, if I sleep with him, maybe he will change his mind. And the reason why we act that way is that for women, a man can grow on you, right? If a woman says no to a man today, she's not interested in him. If he does the right things, if he's in her space at the right time, in the next 3 months, she can decide that she wants to be with him. But with most men, if they say they don't want you, they don't want you. Believe them the first time. Don't let them say it to you the second time. You cannot make a man love you. If he decides that he doesn't love you, he doesn't want to have a permanent relationship with you, you have to believe him. Because if you stick around hoping that things will change, you're going to just find out that you've been with this person for 3 years and nothing is changing. And it can be so bad that the guy who has told you that he doesn't want to be with you, or he doesn't want to be with you as a serious relationship, he could literally be with you and go get married to somebody else. It's happened to so many women. You can't make a man love you. You can't sleep with him into loving you. You can't cook for him into loving you. You can't speak on the phone with him enough to make him love you. If a man says he doesn't want you, believe him the first time and remove yourself from his space. Don't allow him to waste any more of your time. I know too many women who have accepted to be friends with benefits with a guy, who have accepted to be his bestie, secretly hoping that if they're around him enough, if they sleep with him enough, if they try hard enough, that he will change his mind about them. But honestly, men hardly ever change their minds about that. If they say they don't want you, then they don't want you, and you could do anything on the face of the earth. You could give them your kidney and they'd still decide that they don't want you. So do not allow a man to tell you twice that he doesn't want you. If he says he doesn't want you, somebody else will want you. You cannot make a man love you. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but don't shoot your shots. Don't. I've shot my shots before, as funny as that sounds. And I spent the entire relationship wondering if this person wanted to be with me, because I felt like I forced them into wanting me. Now, as a woman, we want to be chosen. We want to know that this person made the choice to have me. This person made the choice and decided that it's me he wants. Now, when you shoot your shot, you've taken that choice away from him, right? And of course, I'm being general here based on my own experience. And while it might feel good that you got him, you're always going to be wondering, did he want me? Did he even want me? Did he even want to be with me? Right? And I've only shot my shot one time. And throughout that relationship, I always had that insecurity. Would he have wanted somebody else? Is he wishing he was with somebody else? Is he cheating on me right now because he didn't really choose me? He just felt sorry for me and said yes. And I just believe that the emotional pressure, the emotional tension of just constantly wondering, does this person even want to be with me? I feel like as women, we're just not built for that. So if you like somebody and they don't like you back, I'd say just wait for somebody who will like you back. Don't shoot your shot. Maybe it has ended well for other people, and if you've shot your shot and it ended well for you, then please let me know in the comments. But for me, shooting your shot, I believe for a woman is a bad idea. I believe you should wait for a man who loves you enough and decides that he wants to be with you, and then you know that he chose you. You know that he made the decision that I've seen everybody else, but this is the person I want, this person who I want to be with. And it just makes it easier to be in a relationship with that person, because you're not wondering, would he have wanted somebody else? He's not going to leave her for you. He's not going to leave his wife for you. He's not going to leave his girlfriend for you. This is a lie that has been told to women from ages past, right? I've read it in all the romance novels where and I've seen it in a lot of rom-coms where the man tells the woman, oh, I'm not happy with my wife, or I'm not happy with my girlfriend. Or in the case of one guy that liked me, he said, oh, I don't know if the girl is God's will for me. And I'm like, okay. And you're just knowing that when you met me, that you're not sure she's God's will for you. Shady men tell that lie all the time. They say, oh, I wish it was you I was with. I don't really want to be with her. But then they just don't leave her. And honestly, you shouldn't want a man to leave another girl for you. You shouldn't want it, because you could be the one in her shoes, right? And if he leaves her for you, if you're cheating on him, if both of you are cheating behind her back, and he eventually leaves her for you, now that's your problem. He probably is going to cheat with somebody else behind your back and leave you as well. But the truth is that a man is very unlikely to leave his girlfriend or his wife for you. They say they're going to do it. They tell you they're not happy in their relationships, but they just end up wasting your time. And honestly, you deserve your own man. You should not be anybody's side piece. You should not be anybody's side piece in the first place. But if somehow you find yourself being a side piece, I'm not judging you. I'm just letting you know that if your plan is that the guy is going to leave his girlfriend or his wife for you, you're probably going to be waiting a long time. You're better off leaving him and going to find somebody who wants to be with you and you alone. If you don't want to eat it, don't smell it. This is a Nigerian proverb that basically means whatever you don't want to entertain, get rid of it quickly. Whatever you don't want in your space, nip it in the bud. If you meet a guy and he's, disrespectful to you, or he's abusive to you, or you just know that this person is bad for you, do not entertain him in your space. Get rid of him quickly, right? So many times, because maybe we're lonely, we entertain all these people that we know that we have no business being with, we have no business talking to. We know that there's never going to be any healthy relationship coming out of this, but we let them hang around anyway. We let them waste our time. We just let them loiter around our lives. If you're not going to eat it, don't smell it. Whatever you don't intend to keep in your life, get rid of it quickly. If there's a man that you know is just wrong for you, he's wrong for you in every way, he's unhealthy for you, from the first time that you notice that, you need to get rid of him, right? You send somebody a message, they're replying you like 3 days later. There cannot be any kind of serious relationship with that kind of person. But I let them hang around. I stressed myself. I tried to beg them, not with the words, but just try to encourage them, to give me the love that I wanted, the love that I deserved, instead of just letting them go. Or people that I knew were just not in alignment with what I wanted at that time. I knew they're just wrong for me, but I just kept on talking to them, fully knowing that this relationship, this conversation was not going anywhere. So if you know that this is a bad idea, if you know this person does not have any good intentions for you, if you know this person is a time waster, let them go before they waste too much of your time, or a lot of your time. Actions speak louder than words. The person that treated me the best was the one who never really said the words "I love you." I think he said "I love you" to me just once, but he treated me with the most respect out of anybody that I'd been with. He was the kindest. He prioritized my needs. He was a good communicator. And it just made me realize that people say "I love you" all the time. People can talk a good game. People can say all sorts of things. But you need to believe their actions. The way a person treats you is how they truly feel about you. The way a person treats you is how they truly feel about you. This advice will save your life. And it will just save you so much time. It will save you so much heartbreak, because a guy can be telling you "I love you, I want to be with you," but he's acting, in a completely different way. You have to beg him to reply your text. He doesn't ever want to be seen with you, doesn't want to be around you, but he's saying "I love you." So many guys have said "I love you" to me, and their actions just said the opposite thing, just said a different thing. And you have to believe the actions more than the words. You can't keep a man faithful. You can't. I come from a part of the world where people believe that if you cook right for a man, and if you sleep with him enough and good enough and you're acrobatic enough, that he will stay faithful to you. But the truth is, the women who do that still end up with a cheating man. And that's because faithfulness is a choice. It's a choice that a man has to make to be faithful to you. Yes, you should do your part in a relationship, right? And fulfill your partner's needs. But the decision to be faithful is not one you can influence. A person comes into a relationship with you already knowing what their plan is. They already know if they want to be faithful. They already know if they're going to cheat on you. And there's not much you can do. You can check his phone all day. You can spy on his DMs. You can have a secret account on social media. I'm not saying you should do that. That's kind of creepy. But I'm saying that no matter what you do, a person who wants to cheat, who's determined to cheat, will still cheat. You can sleep, you can memorize Kama Sutra and be the very embodiment of Kama Sutra, and he will still cheat on you. I mean, we know so many of the hottest women, in the world by society standards, who, again, I'm not making fun of them, I'm just saying that it just shows you that a person who is determined to cheat will cheat on you. And so you cannot make it your responsibility to keep a person faithful, because you are going to stress yourself out checking his phone, fighting. Why are you fighting other girls? over a man, it does not make any sense, because those girls don't owe you any loyalty. The person that you're with, in a relationship with, is the one who owes you loyalty, right? If he didn't open himself up to the crazy women or to the person he's cheating with, then there would be no cheating involved. That girl does not owe you anything. She doesn't owe you any loyalty. And I'm not supporting cheating. I'm just saying, stop embarrassing yourself fighting over a man who will cheat with another person once you're done fighting with this girl, right? Just save yourself the trouble. A person who wants to cheat will cheat, and there's nothing you can do about it. I've noticed that, when women get cheated on, they start to worry, oh, is it the way I look? Is it that I wasn't good enough? Is it this? But it's not about you, right? It's not about you. The person who cheated on you made the decision they were going to cheat, and they probably made that decision long before they entered a relationship with you. And I know people say, oh, it was a mistake, but honestly, I don't believe that cheating can be a mistake, because you have to make a deliberate choice. You have to arrange the circumstances by which the cheating happens. Again, a generalization, but I'm saying that people who cheat have many, many, many options, many steps to change their minds about cheating before they do it. Yes, people make mistakes, but I just believe that it's a choice, all right? If you want to be faithful, it's a choice you make, either man or woman. I know many people say, oh, it's easier for men to cheat. Men are moved by what they see, and men like variety. I like variety too. Women like variety too. Okay, so it's a choice. Faithfulness is a choice. The decision to stay faithful to the person you're with is a choice that you make long before you even enter into a relationship. You decide that I am a faithful person and I will stay faithful to my partner no matter what, because there'll always be temptations. There'll always be the desire to want somebody else. There's always going to be somebody who looks better than the person that you have, but you decide that this is the person that I'm with and I'm going to be loyal to them. So don't put that on yourself. If a man cheats, it's because he's a cheater. It's not because you are not good enough. Okay. Follow your instincts. Honestly, if women listen to their instincts more, we would save ourselves so much heartbreak. Like, we would be less involved with a lot of drama. But because our instincts say one thing and we want to go in an opposite direction, we want to end up with men who we know are no good for us. We just decide, oh, let me just try, let me see. I can't count how many times God told me, that this person is bad for you. This is not the person I have for you. But I was like, I'm going to check it out anyway. And I ended up burnt. And I had nobody to blame but myself. Okay, so follow your instincts. Even if he looks good on the surface, if everybody says he's good for you and your instincts say otherwise, you have to listen to your instincts. You can't change a man. There's this quote I love: you're not a rehabilitation center for badly behaved men. People change because they want to change, not because somebody else made them change. Yes, sometimes when we're surrounded by the right kind of people, they can help us to make the decision to change. We can want to change for them, and if you're in a healthy relationship, we make compromises for each other. We want to change for each other, but it still has to be a decision that the other person makes. You cannot of your own decide that you want to change somebody. I think one of the things that I've noticed that has caused issues in relationships and marriages is people thinking, I don't really like this about this person, but I'm going to change it. And then they end up in a relationship with somebody and the person just never changes. My parents have been married for over 40 years. And honestly, I remember them being exactly the same when I was a child as they are now. Most of the disagreements they have around the same issues. And that just tells me that people change because they want to change, but they're not going to change that much. So if you do not like a man how he is, you're unlikely to change him. Stop trying to change a man. Stop trying to be the trainer, right? Find a man who is committed to change, who's committed to growing, or accept the man that you have. Because yes, some men need to change, but some other men, you just need to accept them as they are. So stop trying to change a man. You can't change a man. If he hits you once, he's gonna hit you again. Okay. A lot of people who stay in abusive relationships stay there because they believe it's gonna get better, but it doesn't get better. I remember being with a guy who was very aggressive and who had a foul temper. One day he hit me. I wasn't even really dating him. It was one of those situationships, like a horrible mess. But instead of, running away from him, I still lingered. And the next time he came at me, he actually took off his belt and he was going to beat me up. And I just got lucky that there were people around and I was able to run away. And that was my lesson, right? In the fact that abuse never gets better. You're going to end up either abused for life, or he's going to kill you, or you're going to kill him. It does not get better. If a person is abusing you and getting away with it, there's no incentive for them to stop. So if you're being abused, you need to get out. And I know that it's easier said than done, and it sounds really simplistic, but it's just the truth. If you do not want to die, if you have kids, if you don't want your kids to die, there are kids who grow up and end up killing the abuser because they can't stand around and watch, their mom being abused. I know that it's a terrible situation to be in. And I really, really am sorry that you're going through that if you're being abused and you're watching this video. But you deserve better. You do not deserve somebody who's hitting you. Deserve better than somebody who's hitting you. And you can get help. You can get help, but you need to get out. If you still want to stay alive, and if you do not want to kill the person and you don't want to be killed, because one day you will have enough of it. And abuse never gets better. You just need to get out. No matter how much advice you get about relationships and the mistakes to avoid, you will make mistakes because you're a flawed human being trying to enter into a relationship with other flawed human beings. I've given grace to the men that I was in relationships with because I realized that it's either I encouraged, the way they treated me, or I didn't love myself very much. But I've taken ownership of my part in why those relationships ended. And I believe that mistakes are inevitable in relationships. And it doesn't even have to end up in a breakup. It doesn't even have to end in a breakup. But just by the nature of putting yourself out there, of risking your heart, you will make mistakes, and you just need to forgive yourself. Recently, I allowed myself to fall for somebody that I had no business falling for, right? I should have known better is what I told myself. And eventually that situation blew up in my face, as was expected. And I felt so bad because I was like, dude, when are you going to learn your lesson? When are you going to know better? When are you going to do better? And I just beat myself up for so long, and I built up a lot of resentment for myself and for the person in question, because I just found myself being very resentful. And I decided to speak to a therapist about it, and we went through this forgiveness therapy session, forgiveness, like a guided meditation for forgiveness. And one of the things that we did was he asked me to revisit the day, that the thing that I believe is unforgivable happened, or where it started. And in my mind's eye, I went back to the first time that I met this person, and I saw myself in that moment. I saw how hopeful I was. I saw how organic and natural that our chemistry was. I saw the smiles on our faces and just how happy we were that night. And I forgave myself because I realized that this could have been the one. It could have worked. I took a risk by putting my heart out there, and ended up not working. But that day was a beautiful day, a pure day that could have become something good. And you never know, right? Sometimes you can do your best. You can make sure that the person is a good person, a kind person. You can do everything that you can do your best and still end up in a situation that is not ideal. And you just have to keep forgiving yourself because you're a human being who wants to be loved, and there's no shame in that. So you might have made mistakes in the past. I just want to encourage you to forgive yourself. You're human and you did the best that you know. And now that you know better, you'll do better. There's more to love than how you look. And by the way, you're beautiful. I know that a lot of people believe that you have to look perfect. You have to, be the right size, be the right weight. But the truth is there's someone for everyone, and there's someone who will love you exactly as you are. I mean, it's good to look good, right? But true love actually goes beyond looks. As much as that's important, because again, you need to be attracted to the person you're going to be with. But people end up making decisions based on character, on just how safe they feel around that person. And so that means that regardless of how you look and how you think, and why you think that your looks are inferior, despite the weakness, even because of the weakness. I remember a friend of mine who liked another friend of mine, and he said the reason why he liked her is because she laughs like a maniac, which is probably something that she wouldn't like about herself, but it's what somebody found attractive about her. And so I'm just saying that embrace your quirks and understand that, like, as you are, you're good enough for the person who will want you. Your desire to love is a basic human need, and there's nothing wrong with it. And I just hope that you find your person, and if you find them sooner than you expect. And to just help you in this journey, check out my free book in the description box, 30 mistakes to avoid on your journey to finding the one. Thank you so much for watching.